So first of all, I love the movie. Very excited to be talking to all three of you. I'm a big fan of all three of you, so I'm just going to get right into it. Chloe, you've taken on tough, action-heavy roles before, but I feel like Georgia feels like a different character for you. You are carrying this. First of all, you're carrying the 20-pound belly, but you're also carrying like the hope of the film in the sense that Georgia's baby kind of represents the future of humanity. So, like as an actress, like how do you approach a role like that?
I really wanted to be honest to the character. I felt that I think I really felt that I got closer to Georgia than a lot of the other characters that I played before. And I don't think that's not because Madsen was on set. I think being there with Madsen, he really helped me get into the mind of Georgia. And I think we really created a character that was incredibly multifaceted. We didn't want her to be this perfect mother. We didn't want her to be this like happy-go-lucky, pregnancy's been a breeze, even in the midst of an apocalypse type of mother. We really wanted her to feel confused and at a true crossroads in her life and trying to wonder, is she making the right decision? Should she have stayed with this guy? She's having a baby. What does that mean for her? Should they bring a child into the world in this kind of climate, with everything going on around them? All those kind of questions that are a little problematic is something that we wanted to lean into and kind of not have her be this perfect, syrupy female character. We really wanted her to have facets to her that were, not perfect.
Yeah. And I mean, they came across great, and I think Algee, you were also, core part of this relationship. And I think, your sequence in the house, which I won't get into spoilers, but, that was one of my favorite sequences of the movie. And it felt like a horror movie at times, which I was wondering, was that easy to tap into that aspect, considering how like possible the premise of this movie feels?
Oh, very good question. No, it wasn't easy, even considering how possible it may be. I think it wasn't easy because of just having to really think about, okay, if I'm really in a world where robots are taking over and I'm about to die by robots, that's not easy to think about. Chloe just brought up a point earlier, like we carry these robots with us every day in our pocket. So it's like thinking about my phone becoming a robot is kind of crazy, but I think the sequence in the house was actually one of the funnest sequences that I did. Seeing Chloe move around those walls like James Bond, you know what I'm saying, and coming through and doing what she does was dope. And then being able to give that emotion, that fear, the yelling, the screaming. I think I'm giving away more, but yeah, I think it wasn't too hard.
Yeah. And then, Raúl, I think you get one of the most interesting scenes and, no spoilers, but your character has a big secret and you get a great scene with Chloe towards the end of the film. And for me, I know you as like Richie from Looking, you know what I mean? This decidedly warmer character. So, I mean, like how fun was it to lean into this role and sort of get to be this character who is definitely interesting, I'll say.
Yeah, no, it's a fascinating character. I had worked with Madsen on a film called Little Fish that he wrote, and he asked, I was offered the role of Arthur, and I, read the script, and I was riveted from beginning to end. He brings such a, he serves a certain function in the story, and when he comes in, it just rocked my world, and it was exciting to read, and more than anything, I was just moved how personal it was to Madsen, and how deeply invested he was in it as a filmmaker. So to me, like, whether I'm working with someone like Andrew Haig or I'm working with someone like Madsen Tomlin, as long as they're invested in the story and the character and they have a real earnest and a real passion for the story, then that passion rubs off. And it's just, it was such a rich character to portray. I was just excited, and he let me be creative and have fun with it. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And I mean, I could tell, I mean, that ending sequence was great. And then Chloe, you get into this really intense scene with Raúl. And I was wondering, you're familiar with the horror genre with Suspiria. I love Suspiria. But for that, you're also playing this really protective person. And that ending scene was just so emotional. And I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about how you found that in you.
I think what was nice about that scene is it was towards the end of filming. And what was really lucky with this story is we did shoot pretty chronologically. So, we were tired, we were worn down, and we had been, I think I had been so intensely connected to this this baby, this child that we were growing, that by the time that we got to that sequence, and not to give away too much, but the child was there and it was real and it was palpable. I felt like it just flowed. We didn't have to work to get into that situation. And I think that goes for a lot of the things in the film. They just flowed. It didn't feel like in other projects where you have to get yourself into the mindset or really put yourself in that position and this and that. It just felt like the circumstances were palpable. We were filming pre-vaccine. So it was in the deep midst of COVID. Everyone was covered up in PPE. It felt kind of apocalyptic, what we were surrounded by, the pressures and emotional pressures from the current administration we were under, which switched while we were filming. But all these things were incredibly, compounded on top of us. So to get into the situations that all of us were getting into, I think it was just like lifting, the edge of a scab, and then the blood flowed in a lot of ways. So it was really beautiful and very cathartic.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. Loved the movie. You guys have a good one.